So here we go. 4-1. I know I always say that. We're going to be looking at ratios, rates, and unit rates. Well, first, actually, we're going to focus on the unit rates and then work our way backward. Now, a unit rate, this is going to be something per, and when I say per, it means over. So something over 1, something per 1. That's why unit 1. So $3.50 per gallon, we would write $3.50 over 1 gallon. Now we don't always have to write that 1. If all I wrote was gallon, that means over 1 gallon. But if we look over here, so if I spend $35 for 10 gallons of gas, I could figure out the unit price, the unit rate, which would be the same as here. And how do we figure that out? We put the amount that it was, $35, over the total number of gallons, 10. To make it a unit rate, we're going to divide both the top and the bottom by 10, because I want this number here to be 1. So I divide here by 10, I divide there by 10, I get $3.50 per gallon. So if you have something that takes, let's say you took 6 hours and to complete 12 homework worksheets, right? A nightly assignment, right? So you have 6 hours for 12 sheets. To make this a unit rate, you need to divide by 12 this time, because I want this number to be 1. So I divide 12 by 12 and divide 6 by 12. So the unit rate here is half an hour, 0.5 hours per sheet. Notice I didn't write the 1. I don't have to. If it's only 1, I can just write per sheet. This means per 1 sheet. Now, I want you in your book to fill in example 1, and I want you to try 1A, 1B, 1C. Go ahead and pause the video and take care of that. Now, if we're going to compare our unit rates, we are going to be looking at 2 unit rates and seeing which one is either a better deal or which one it costs more or is more appropriate. We do this all the time. So, if I buy 10 gallons of gas for $43 in Adrian, but then Mrs. Irish, she buys 12 gallons of gas for $50 in Morenci. Who got the better deal? Now, Mrs. Irish spent more, but I got less. So the only way to know who got the better deal is to figure out our unit rates. So my unit rate, $43 for 10 gallons. That means $4.30 per gallon. Mrs. Irish's rate, $50 for 12 gallons. So that's $4.17 per gallon. Mrs. Irish got the better rate. All right, now I want you to pause the video and I want you to fill in example 2, and I want you to do 2A and 2B. Also, I want you to think about and answer, why can't you compare the unit rates in 2C? So I've already told you you can't compare them, and now I want you to tell me why. Also, try the practice number 1 through 4 on page 144. Pause the video and take care of that. Now we're going to be continuing to work on proportions, and we can use this by solving proportion. So what's a proportion? Well, it's a ratio. All right, so something ratio to something else. So a unit rate, it's just one type of a proportion. Now we can see the proportional relationship by using a table. If Mr. Roop runs 5 blocks in 3 minutes, how would we figure out his unit rate? Well, if I draw a table here, I've drawn a box, it's 5 blocks. How long does it take him to run that? Well, I've drawn another block, which is the same size, and that's 3 minutes. So 5 blocks in 3 minutes. And then I divide this bottom block in 3 sections, so each section is worth 1 minute. So then the question would be, how far does he go in 1 minute? Well, just like we did before, now we have a picture of what do. We take 5 blocks and we divide it by the 3 minutes to find out how far he goes just in that 1 minute. And so his rate here would be 1.7 blocks per minute. 5 blocks divided by 3 minutes, 1.7 blocks per minute. Now, you can make a table. Here's our table. So at 1 minute, he would have gone 1.7 blocks. 3 minutes, we know he goes 5 blocks. That's already up here. So at 2 minutes, at 2 minutes, he would be going 3.4 blocks. And we know this because each block is 1.7, so 2 of them is going to be 3.4. At 4 minutes, he's going to go 6.8 blocks. And at 5 minutes, he's going to go 8.5 blocks. So if we take a look at the proportions for each of these, this proportion is 1.7 blocks over 1 minute. That's 1.7 blocks per minute. Then this one is our 3.4 blocks for 2 minutes. Oh, it's the same proportion. And when we divide down, that's the same proportion. And when we divide this down, same and the same. So the ratios are the same right here. These guys, boom, 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 boom. So Mr. Roop's speed is the same all the way across. So if the ratios are the same, then it is a proportional relationship. So if the ratios are the same, it's a proportional relationship. All right, so I want you to go ahead and fill out Explorer number 1, page 147, and I want you to do number 1 on page 147. Pause the video and take care of that. All right, now on page 148, take a look and find the definition for proportional relationship. I want you to also find that definition for proportion on page 148. Text code the definition. No whining, it's only 2 sentences. Then I want you to look up and then write the definition of constant in the margin. So look up the word constant, and I want you to write that definition in the margin. All right, so last bit. What if you're already given a table and you're asked to find out, is this a proportional relationship? Well, remember, 1, if the ratios are consistent, there's going to be a proportional relationship. If the ratios are not consistent, there is not a proportional relationship. So an example here, I have written minutes spent studying for a quiz and the grade on the math quiz. So 1 minute spent studying yields about 3.3% on the grade. 5 minutes, 17%. 10 minutes, 33%. 15 minutes, 50%. And 30 minutes, 100%. So we can figure out our rate here, our unit rate, grade per minute. So here's 3.3 over 1, so it's 3.3% per minute. And we put this 17 over 5, 13 over 10, 15, 50 over 15, 100 over, or 30 over 100. And when we do that, we find that all of these are in fact the same unit rate. These are all equal to 3.3 per 1 minute. So therefore, this is a proportional relationship. If it was not all equal, it would not be. So now, last little bit, I want you to fill out 2A, 2B, and 2C on page 148. Good luck.